and welcome back to the 24th episode of our still unnamed survival series. Today, we are going to be building a path. Well, a lot of paths. Last episode, we built 3 bridges, and now we need to connect all of our buildings so that we actually have some nice places to walk. I want to make our village beautiful, and I think a very key feature is paths. But we have a bit of a problem. I have a huge chest monster that needs to be tackled first. So we are going to spend the first little bit organizing. This is a lot of my mess, but it is definitely not all of it. I have spread so many shulker boxes and chests throughout this world. It is astounding. We have chests all the way over at our guardian farm, all the way over there. There is literally everywhere we have been in this world, I have left chests. So I think it's time to actually try and condense everything into one spot. So I think that I'm going to work with my mess and just put everything out in the open for now. I've picked out this little spot over by our bee farm, and where we already have a few chests piled up, I'm not really using this space, so this spot will do. Okay, I have spent way more time doing this than I thought that it would take, and I am nowhere near done. I have spent almost 3 hours traveling around my world, gathering up all of my chests and shulker boxes and bringing it back to our village. Most of it was a bunch of junk. I've already organized everything I want to keep over at the Guardian Farm. That's taken care of. We still have so much to do in the village itself, but this is what I have so far. This is kind of what I've been doing. I've got chests over here, and these are all of the shulker boxes that were in my ender chests. I'm gonna rearrange those as well, but this is how I'm gonna start storing all of my items. I have a single chest for any and every item that we have used so far. We have a few empty ones just because I am anticipating getting more of an item. We've also arranged these by biome a little bit as well, so I've got my nether stuff on this side and then my stone stuff on the other. I've also got a few random chests laying around and a few chests that I still haven't even gone through yet. I still have so many more chests in this world to actually go through and sort. So this little arrangement over here is definitely gonna get bigger as time goes on. At least until I get an automatic storage system. Wait, how are those stripped? I thought you couldn't strip the 4-sided logs. What? Didn't we try that a few episodes back? How did I get these? What the heck? Either way, I still have a lot more chests to find and a lot more storage to take care of. I have spent up a lot of time getting everything in my world into our chests. And now that it's completely done, I think it's about time that I start working on my paths for our village. The first thing that I'm going to do to start off my paths is to actually mark out where I think I would like them. And I know that I spend a lot of time in front of my melon and pumpkin farm just because there's a little crafting section there. So I'm going to make this part the biggest path, and it's going to be kind of like a small little courtyard for our village. I'm also going to put a small path from that little section over to our first bridge. I know I'm going to go over here a lot, so might as well put one. And I think it might be a good idea to make a path from our bridge to our main starter house. I think that would look kind of good. And since I'm making paths from bridges, I think it'd be a good idea to make one from our small bridge as well, leading to the back side of the village. That path kind of led directly into my little wheat farm area, so I think I'm going to make a small little courtyard on the outside of this as well. I'm thinking I'm going to make this courtyard like a little rest area for our factory workers when they're out on their breaks. Alrighty, how does that look? That looks really ugly. I don't think I like that. What did I do wrong? This backside kind of looks alright. It could use a little love. That front side though. Yeah, this back here's alright. I kind of like that. This over here, what? That straight line. I think I need to get rid of this straight line. Maybe I'll curve this path. Instead of the straight line, I'll go from the courtyard over to our villager trading hall. And then I could also curve it in the other direction to meet up with the path that goes to our house. And then maybe curve it back this way to meet up with the path that goes underneath our house. Oh, and then we could get like a little diamond shape going and then connect this up with the path over here as well. Oh, and then that leaves us with a little diamond shape in the center. Oh, I think that'll work out perfectly. I could put a tree there, make it feel really scenic there. I kind of like that. Oh, that is so much better. I really like the flowing feel that these paths have now. Now that I know exactly where I want my paths to be, we're going to hop into a creative testing world and I'm going to show you the path ideas that I have. This is hopefully what our paths will look like once they're finished. I have gone ahead and hopped into my building test world where I test out all of my potential building ideas. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at my potential path designs and then talk about some features of my paths. So I wanted two things with my paths. I wanted beauty and functionality. So I came up with this little bench idea so I could sleep anywhere I want to in my village. And then this trash can design. If we put anything in this trash can, it automatically gets shot somewhere else and then destroyed. I wanted this to fight the inventory clutter that I always seem to magically get. So these little trash cans are going to be a pretty consistent thing throughout our Minecraft village, as well as these little bed benches. These paths are going to be sprawled out through our entire village. Anywhere we have a building, we will have a path going to it. I hope that you enjoyed that little peek into my building test world, and now that we are back in my survival world, it's time that we get started on actually building those paths. So let's get started. I need to gather up all the things for this path, and since I actually organized my world, it's so much easier to find everything we need. I need to make coarse dirt and mossy cobblestone. Those are some very important things for this path. However, I don't actually have any vines, so I need to go out and find some vines and maybe even start up a little vine farm. I know that there's a swamp biome somewhere around my village, but I can't for the life of me remember where. Aha, here we are, right outside of my guardian farm. I was looking in the complete wrong direction. So now that we actually found the vines, we're gonna take some shears and start... Where are the vines? Oh my gosh, this is flint and steel. Okay, we are just gonna ignore that happened and start gathering up some vines. I have gathered up a little bit less than a half stack of vines, and I'm just gonna throw all of these up on the side of our villager trading hall and hope that these grow fast enough for me to get something useful out of them. So I'm just gonna, why is that different? It goes 3, 3, 3, 4, 2. Huh. I'm gonna have to fix that. I was definitely not getting enough vines from just putting them on the side of my villager trading hall, so I'm gonna throw up a little vine farm made of sea lanterns, and hopefully I can get a little bit more out of it. I'm just gonna toss all the vines I have up on this little wall, and all of these should grow down, and I should get a pretty large amount of vines in a pretty quick amount of time. I'm still gonna stand here for quite a long time though. That vine farm was actually working really well. I've got quite a few stacks of mossy cobblestone, and now I'm going to go ahead and add them to the paths that we marked out with the path blocks. I'm going to be throwing these around our path blocks randomly just to try and get that beaten down, worn, old path feel. The goal for using the mossy cobblestone rather than normal cobblestone is to make it look overgrown, like it's sat here for a very long time and it's had time for things to grow over it and give us that old, worn down feel. I also want to add a little bit more texture to the feel of this path, so we're going to use andesite as well, and that's going to give it more of a grainy texture when we're walking around. This hopefully suggests the idea of some loose stones along this path, like it's breaking down and kind of coming up a little bit, but it's still a solid path. If you've ever been walking or hiking inside of a national park and they lay various kinds of stones over the top of a dirt path, and over time that dirt flows in between the cracks of the stone and the stone just kind of gets buried, that's the idea I'm going for with this path. And now we're actually going to put in the dirt. I'm using coarse dirt here so grass doesn't spread over the top of it and it still keeps its earthy texture. I really like how the coarse dirt fits in with the andesite and the cobblestone. It's got a few specks of gray in there that really helps it blend together with all the stony textures. So far, I'm really liking how this is blending with the feel of our village. I didn't know how it would quite work with all the curves of the path, but so far, I think this is looking really nice. Yeah, I am loving this. I was holding off on doing the last half of the village just because I was thinking, what if it didn't look good? I would have to tear it all out, but I love this. So far, I'm really liking this. So we're gonna go ahead and finish the rest of the village paths and then come back and do all the detail on top of it. So far, I am really happy with how this path is turning out, and I can't wait to see it finished. Since the first half of the village turned out really well, I'm just gonna go ahead and finish the rest of this village path, and we're gonna do it the exact same way. First starting with the mossy cobble, now the andesite, and finally the coarse dirt. Now that all of our village is accessible via path, we're gonna start lighting things up, and if you look right over here, we have some green carpet, so we are going to be placing sea lanterns all over our path and then covering them up with this green carpet. It matches the grass. I am a huge fan of any form of invisible light. As long as something is lit up and you can't see it, I think it's awesome. So I'm going to try and work invisible light ideas into my builds and my designs a little bit more often in this world than I have been. This path is a huge example of what I'm gonna be doing with this world. When I'm walking down this path, I won't even notice the carpets because I'll just automatically assume that it's grass. I'm gonna do things like this way more often in this world. Wow. I think that this is absolutely beautiful. I love the way that this path just glows in the dark. It really brings life to this village, especially at night. And it looks like I missed a path. Let's fix that real quick. Alright, path complete. Now we can continue to bask in the glow of our beautiful creation. Now that we have our paths almost complete, our lights are in, and all of our stone is in place, we are going to start to detail our paths. That means adding a little bit of redstone, some beds, and some few detailed blocks. So we are going to hop into my building test world and take a look at all the redstone we're going to add in. And as you might remember, this is our path. I'm going to be adding a lot of these beds and a lot of these barrels. And as you might remember, this is a redstone barrel. So as soon as we put something in, it automatically gets sent into either lava or a cactus. For our purposes, I'm going to be using a cactus just because I don't feel like gathering up the lava. But let's take a look at this circuit. This is the exact same circuit that I've used many times in this world, especially over at the Guardian Farm. This is probably my favorite dispenser system just because it's quiet all the time when it's not in use. And it's also really compact. I hope you enjoyed my trash can recap. We are going to be building a lot of those all throughout our village, along with some other detail work. I think that I'm going to start by marking off where I want some benches and where I want some trash cans. And I'm feeling that we should put a trash can right outside of our house first. I'm going to have a lot of these trash cans pretty much everywhere. I'm thinking within 100 blocks of each other at minimum. So there is going to be a lot of these. I'm thinking here's a good spot. Here too. Right here, maybe? Definitely right here. Maybe I'll get rid of that one. Definitely going to be putting one right here though. And I'm going to be putting one right there. Now that I have all of my trash cans in place, I'm going to go behind them and add all of the redstone. I would like a fairly large space underneath of these, just so I can actually place what I need to place and have room to do so. So let's jump in. I'm going to have 2 spaces for hoppers underneath our barrel, and then on this third block, we're going to place our dispenser. I'm going to go ahead and clear out a little bit more room for myself. And now that I've cleared out this little space, we are going to place our hoppers. I'm going to squat place onto this dispenser and then squat place onto this hopper above it. I do need a little bit more space in the back so I can properly place our directional blocks like observers. But before we do that, I need to place a solid block underneath my dispenser. That way the dispenser can actually receive power without locking the hopper above it. That's very important. And now I need to get this dispenser powered, so I need the output of this observer to face it. So I'm going to come back in front of the dispenser, squat place on that block in front of it, and then place it that way. But now I'm going to place a solid block above that observer and a comparator reading from the hopper out into a sticky piston facing downwards. This is basically the heart of our system. This is what activates our observer clock to activate our dispensers. Now I want this observer to face not that direction, but the opposite direction of our previously placed observer. This is what's going to activate our clock and basically finish our trash can. So I'm going to go ahead and give it a test real fast, and hey, that works. Cool. So I guess all that's left is I still need to install my cactus. I'm going to put this one block away from the dispenser, and we have to make sure that no block is actually around the cactus. So I'm going to just cut out a little hole right here. Now we're going to place our sand and then place our cactus. We're also going to cover up that hole just so we know nothing gets stuck. Why did you not work that time? Awesome. Okay, it actually works. Now I'm going to go ahead and cover up our hole and move on to the next few. Fantastic. Perfectly hidden trash cans. And now we move on to the bench beds, my favorite thing. And I actually really like where this one is placed because it's overlooking the lake, and I think this would be a beautiful place to sit in real life. Next one. This one I'm going to place because I'm generally over here and I need a bed close by when I'm over at my wheat farm. It's also pretty close to our trash can, and every trash can needs a bench. Now that I have my beds and my trash cans in place, this kind of establishes where our pathways are going to be width-wise. So I needed to place those before I actually placed the walls of my path, and these little walls are going to be holding the lanterns. I thought we needed a little bit more light and something to kind of hold us in and really establish the idea of the pathway. I also really love the idea of our shrubbery being part of our wall as well. That's really going to solidify the idea of this pathway as well. All in all, I think this is going to be an amazing path once it's actually finished. Now that all of our walls are in place for all of our paths, I'm going to run around and place lanterns on every single wall that I've placed. When they first introduced the lanterns, I was kind of hesitant to actually use them. I didn't think that they would actually serve a purpose or I would like them, but now that I've actually started using them, I adore them. They are one of my favorite lighting sources, but they aren't my favorite block. That is kind of an interesting question though. I don't think I know what my favorite block is. I adore the warped stem block, that's a beautiful block, but I also really like the new Grimstone blocks. I'm gonna have to think about that. But I want to hear what your favorite block is. Comment down below and tell me what your favorite block in Minecraft is. All of my lanterns are placed and all of my walls are placed, but we still have a little bit of an issue. This path is still incredibly difficult to walk on. I have to jump and I have to do just a lot of stuff that makes it very difficult to actually use this path. So I'm going to be walking around, and everywhere that we have to jump or do something funky, I'm going to be placing some slab variants just so we don't have to do that. It's going to add a lot to the quality of life and the maneuverability in my village. It's the small things that I really think add to the quality of your world. And speaking of small things, I think I'm going to walk around our path and add some stone buttons. This is supposed to give the idea of small little pebbles littered throughout our path. I always kind of liked this idea and never really had an opportunity to put it into practice, so I thought this would be a perfect opportunity to try it. And I really like it. Now it's time to add the shrubbery. I really like this, and I'm thinking that in the future when I personally update to the 1.17 or the 1.18 update, I'm going to replace some of these bushes with the azalea bushes. They look very beautiful with the bright pink flowers, and I think that that would just really add to the feel of my village. So I'm adding these bushes with the azalea leaves in mind. And I think the pink of the azalea leaves will really match with the sakura trees that I have planned for this village. The matching of these colors is really gonna make the village feel blended. Our walls are in and our shrubs are in, our stones are looking fine and our path is looking amazing. But now I'm gonna go around it and add some bone meal just to kind of spruce up this area. I really like the idea of the grass inside of our path. The idea of this path was to make it feel overgrown, to make it look unkept, and to really enjoy walking down this path. And I think the grass really adds that extra layer of depth and feel to this path. Honestly, I am really happy with how this is turning out. My village is actually starting to look like the vision I had when I first started it, which is amazing. But believe me when I say I still have a very long way to go. This looks amazing. I am so happy with how this turned out. Honestly, I really didn't think that it would turn out this nice. I love this. I am so happy I did this path. Just look at that. That is stunning. The light is shimmering everywhere, and it is just gorgeous. And look at that. We're not getting many mob spawns either, which is exactly what I wanted. This has definitely improved the looks of my village by at least tenfold. This is beautiful. I love the way the light reflects off of everything and it really pulls the village together. I am so happy with this. I love our benches, I love our trash cans. Honestly, I really love the idea of the trash cans and the benches. Functional beauty. But with that, I am going to have to call it a video right here. I really hope you enjoyed. And as always, my name is Red Skies, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye. If you're still watching, thank you. I really appreciate it. And as always, if you have any tips or tricks for using DaVinci Resolve or video editing in general, leave a comment down below. I would love to hear it. And if you have any specific tips for audio, I keep getting breath sounds in my audio and I don't know how to get rid of them. I'm thinking about upgrading my mic again, and hopefully that'll fix the problem. But if you have any ideas or anything to try, please drop a comment. But for now, goodbye.